My painting I'm going to have a go at today is of this wonderful village in Suffolk in East Anglia, considered one of the most picturesque villages in the area, and its principal fame comes from the fact there's so many medieval buildings in it. This is just one little the Bell Inn there in the High Street, but there are a lot of lovely views to be painted here. So I'm going to have a go at this, and when you do a watercolour, it's a good idea to select a good photograph, and one that makes a good photograph for painting watercolour is one where you've got lots of contrast. So I've got some dark shadows here. This is a shadowed side. So I've got these shadows on the road and here, and different elements of the roof here, contrasted with the light here, and the light, and a light in this building here. I've got a bit of interest as well. I've got some people here, and some which will add some scale to it. But I've got a lot of detail in there. I've got to try not to be over detailed, really. So I'm just trying to get a general impression of my visit to this wonderful village. So let's get on with that. So I'm going to start with a nice wash and get some of the sky, but I'm going to wet this. Actually, looking at my sketch now, as you see I've sketched it out, not too much sky visible actually, but anyway, we'll do with that. I think I'm just going to do a gentle graduated wash. I don't think I'm going to have any clouds or anything like that. I just want to get a nice gentle cerulean sort of blue. So let's go with that. I think my palette could do with a little bit of a wipe. Got some sort of greens in there, rather dirty palette. Some people say you should always start with a clean palette. There are others who go with what they've got and just make use of the different colours they have there. I think that's got a nice clean palette now. Got my usual palette, various blues, cerulean, cobalt, orange there, Payne's grey, ultramarine there, cadmium red, raw sienna, umber, light red. I think that's black actually. I very rarely use black. It's probably not a good idea. It kills your paintings very easily. And I've got 3 different greens there. Hooker's green there. You never use that on its own. You want to mix it with some yellow ochre and raw umber. You can make lots of greens. Then we've got Viridian. That can be quite garish, actually, used on its own. Should best avoided sap green, bit of violet there, Chinese white, Naples yellow, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, ochre, and crimson alizarin, and various other reds here. But so let's get back on to the sky there. So got a nice Chinese brush here. I have a few of these given to me as a Christmas present, but recently a very kind lady gave me some. She's not using them, so I will certainly use them. So let's make a puddle of water and then get some cerulean blue going. It's a good idea actually to wet your paints if you haven't got freshly squeezed out the tube, you know, they've still dried somewhat. You can wake them up with a spritz of water, or just have your brush in them, but you have to leave a little while, give them a bit of agitation to wake them up, as it were. So I think, actually I've got the cerulean here, but I think I'll drop a bit of cobalt in. Why not make our own mixture? And I'm making it fairly thickly because it dries so much lighter. So let's just sweep a little bit in here. I think make it a little darker, add some interest. Doesn't matter if I go across the building, because that will be quite a lot darker. So I'm going to just put a little more there. Oh, I need to bring it down over there. Right, let's go with that. I think I'm going to lift a little bit with a damp brush there in the distance. Mop up this. Not that important because we're going to be painting over it, but just for the purposes so you can still see my sketch there. I've dried it with my Chinese brush, bit of a mop brush. Right, let's leave that alone for the moment. And I've got this great slab of white in here, so I think I'm going to get rid of that for the moment with a little bit of Payne's grey, just to sweep in a rough road colour. Big bore brushes, big sweep, a little bit of blue there, a little bit of texture on this paper. This is 120 pound weight paper. I want to keep up here that this side there's a lot of light up here. Light is coming this direction. This part of the road is really quite in the sunshine as opposed to here, which is much darker and in the shade. So let's put a bit more on that pavement. I will darken these things up with my shadow colours a little bit later. I'm working basically from light to dark. So it's the convention anyway with watercolour. Let's just darken up here. Got a little bit of raw sienna there. go with that for the moment. Right, and this is very light in my reference photograph, a nice sort of yellow, Naples yellow colour. The top part is in a bit of shadow from the building here, so I want to make a little darker there and a little lighter here. So I want to get lots of contrast in my painting. So let's clean my palette a little bit. So I've got a bit of clean area to put some yellow in. Just clean this palette. It's so easy to contaminate your yellows. If you have a little bit of other paint in it, can very quickly lose its nice luminosity, which is what you want. Watercolours are transparent, translucent. The light can shine through it, but only if it's clean and not contaminated with other, or got too muddy because you've mixed up and contaminated your colour. So I'm going now with a bit of Naples yellow, which is a lovely colour actually. It's a very nice, subtle sort of yellow. So I think I'm going to just go with that. Under here, there's a telegraph pole here, but that will be darkened up quite a bit. So sweep that in there. This is a bit of a fence there for, I think they're doing some construction. It's just a safety guard there, little rail, little fence. So, right, let's go with that. But I can darken it up a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a slightly smaller brush. Got another Chinese brush here, which I can have more control, so I'm going to use a bit of ochre now. It's not so, a little duller, which is what we need. A little bit of raw sienna perhaps. And get some of the tile structure there. Use that red bit on our tile there, I think. Yep, that will read a little better. Right. Yes, I think we've got too much white in places, so we need to do that. And we've got reddish, dark reddish colour in some of these. Yes, this tile, this brickwork here behind these people sitting out here having a drink. Right. I think I need to address some of these buildings in the background here. So let's just draw out a line there, the roof line, while we decide on our final colours. Actually, this part of the UK, Suffolk, they're quite famous for their striking colours of their buildings. They use pinks and yellows and just gorgeous little colours. Just suggesting at the windows here. In the background here we've got some other buildings, equally old timber frame. Some of them here I've got thatched. Just it's a hill up here. Up to the church in the far distance off to the left there. Magnificent church. Here I've got some hedges, nice green around here, which we'll put in a moment, but let's just suggest some of those building shapes there. Right, now we need to make sure we've got everything's grounded. You can't have things floating till you now just yes, I've got get these windows and shapes in. Right, as I say, this is going to be a nice bit of green there. Got a car here. Don't usually put in cars. They're very tricky to get right. But I thought I'd leave this one. Just suggest its shape. A lot of shadow underneath, but this mirror sticking out there, but we'll do with that in a minute. A bit more detail. Make it read a little bit, put some rear lights in it perhaps. Now I think I can see, if I just look at the shapes, which is a good idea actually, sometimes just to squint your eyes and see whether you have the tones right, because the tones will make it read. I've heard it said that colour in a painting gets all the glory, but the tonal values do the hard work. So I think I can understand that. If you haven't got the tonal values right, then it's can look a bit flat. Yes, what have I got there? Oh, I see. There's a bit of a wall here. This is the edge of this building. I'm going to do that a nice colour in a minute. So let's give a little bit of brickwork colour to this bit of wall. A little bit of light red there. So we can go with that. Let's do some more detail on that brickwork there. Bit of dry brushwork will usually give you some textural elements to it. Right. Okay, let's put some colour in there. In this one. This one is a nice pink colour. So let's put this one in here, which is wow, how do I make that? It's let's put a bit of orange just for the hell of it. A little bit of light red. Yes. Yeah, that's not so far off it actually. I think we can do that. Yes, that's very close to it here. Try to paint around my figures there. And then the front of the building, because the light's coming this direction. This is catching a bit of light, but this element of the wall is a bit darker. So I've stepped up the tone to be darker there. Right. Yes, that's a bit more like it, I think. Yes. I think we'll do with that. And then here is a light pink and a more vivid pink on this face. So let's see what we can do with that. Right. Okay, let's leave it there. Right on the street there. Say the church is up there, so let's get some contrast going. Keep that line good though. You want to, if you're showing architecture, you need to have the odd quite sharp lines suggests buildings, so I can do that. Now, where do I go from here? I think we haven't put in our drinkers there, have we? Much darker there. A little bit darker variety there. And under this sill, on that tile crease, is a little bit. So, should I drop some darks into that car there? Get the shadow, this wheel. Right, leave it there. Right, now I think I could probably darken this up a little bit. Because I want it to contrast with that. I mean, clearly it's doing it, but I'm giving a little bit of a help. I also have got missing a few chimneys. And this still needs to be darker, I think, on there. Yes, we haven't got enough contrast. Right, I think we need to put we can afford to put a little bit more reddish colour, terracotta colour, just keep it interesting, into this. This roof has got a lot more red in it, I think, on reflection. It's sometimes a good idea to leave things a little, couple of hours if you can, or sometimes you have to let the layers dry. So I think we can, let's put some suggestions in here. Some colours of these houses here, and also I think that can be a little darker, a smidge. I think we need a bit of Payne's grey in there. That'll do it. And I'm missing a few chimneys actually in this. There's one out there, and there's quite a tall one here. It's coming out here from somebody's house at the back, I think. Could put a bit more colour into these as well. Give some suggestion of the brickwork. Some dark, some umber, some reds. I think I need to tighten up on a little bit too much white there. Job with those customers here. This one with a sort of yellow, a bit of a red on there. It's kind of hint at it. Give some colour to their form. Bit of yellow and a bit of red. Can suggest it a sort of bit of a skin tone. Okay. Now let's have a look. I think I've got a signboard here. How shall I do that? Let's do it in just a faint blue, and then I can probably write in with a pen the name, which is the bell. It says the bell open all day. Right. I need to get a little darker tone under here, under this table. I've got to do this signboard as well. Let's let that dry up for a minute. Help with suggesting some of the windows on some of those cottages in the background there. But have I done enough? Is it dark enough? Have I got it dark enough? This is the question. Well, there we are. I think I should probably call a halt here. When you're struggling to think what should I put in, you probably ought to be stopping. So I think I've probably got that phase now. So there we have Kersey, which is in Suffolk. It's a very ancient old village, medieval story to it. And anyway, if you like what I'm doing here, do give me a like, push the thumbs up, and subscribe if you'd like to be notified when I do some more work, which is encouraging actually to see that people like your work. Anyway, thanks for watching. Well, there's the finished article. I've got to put these lines in for the curb, the shadows a little bit more, and I've taken off the tape, so we've got a cleaner edge, which always helps to highlight a little bit. So as I said, if you do like it, subscribe, and you'll be notified of my future work. Thanks for watching.